What a 2023 Prince Edward Island Canada Games it was for Team Nova Scotia. Pleased to be joined by Lori Lancaster, who is the chef de mission for Team Nova Scotia. Lori, welcome. First of all, congratulations on a fabulous games. It's been a couple of days. What are your kind of thoughts now as you look back?
Oh, Scott, it has been a couple of days, and I think you can still hear a little bit of the rasp in my voice from the enormous cheering that take place. But, I've had a few days to reflect on, I think, the enormity and how special those games were for Team Nova Scotia on a number of different levels. Certainly celebrating our incredible athletes and coaches on, our best ever medal finish in a winter games. So that's something that we're celebrating with everyone, and just, really some special moments throughout the games, which I will look forward to kind of discussing with you as we progress here. But overall, just a very memorable, rewarding, and special time these 2023 games were in Prince Edward Island.
And there's so many subplots and stories that we can talk about, but a couple that jump out at me, karate included as a sport for the first time, Nova Scotia doing so well there, and the female hockey squad capturing a silver medal, the first ever medal for a female team at the Canada Games. Where do you want to start?
Oh, you know what, Scott, I get such goosebumps thinking about these athletes and what they accomplished. And I think, to your point, our karate athletes coming to the games for the first time, this sport, and us taking home 6 medals. That was week 1. So, you could start to feel the momentum of the fact that these karate athletes were leading the medal charge for us, and how exceptional that was. I actually personally have never seen a karate fight in person, and I was mesmerized at the athleticism and just the determination in that sport. So it was pretty special to see those group of athletes compete in that setting. And then our female hockey team, I mean, you could just, I think I said to many, you could see their confidence and their determination grow after each game. And what a special group of young women and coaches really supporting each other. And, for me, the electricity of that semifinal game against, the Power Beast Ontario. And I'm not sure if anyone had seen in the social media scene afterward, but the hockey teams of Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland and Labrador gathered in the hallway to welcome and celebrate our female athletes as I get a little verklempt thinking about it right now, to be honest with you, but like just a pure vision of camaraderie and sportspersonship. And I was never more proud of our sports groups at that time, and just celebrating each other. So kudos to those incredible athletes who really took this time at the games to be their very best, and what a really well-deserved silver medal for them.
And you could definitely feel the momentum growing throughout the 2 weeks of the games, with Team Nova Scotia performing so well across so many sports. Within your role as chef de mission, what opportunities did you have to speak to athletes, to coaches, and maybe even to family members? Yeah. And what were those conversations like, if you can recount a couple of them quickly?
Oh, absolutely. And I think part of the joy, I think, of my role, Scott, is really doing my best to get to see every sport and to interact with our athletes. That's why we're here. We're here to make their lives, as fluid and easy as possible, so that all they have to think about is competing at the games. So, so I attended almost everything, and how thrilled it was to celebrate with families there, particularly those who were successful in achieving a medal, but even those who were achieving their personal bests. I mean, we had a significant amount of athletes who achieved their personal bests, and those really need to be celebrated. But for me, just being able to watch our athletes, to see them grow and develop, not only really as within the sports world, but the incredible learnings that come from the games, meeting other athletes, overcoming adversity. It's just, all in all, it's an incredible experience for all involved.
And again, just the momentum that was built. And, you talked about Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland and Labrador hockey teams being there to support Team Nova Scotia as they came off the ice. Other than the things that we've mentioned, which are obviously big highlights for you, what are a couple of other things that you're going to take away that years from now, you're still going to look back on fondly and it's going to make you smile?
For me personally, I think it was taking home a lot of those wonderful experiences on Prince Edward Island. I'm a very proud Prince Edward Islander. Many mission staff, we were driving around and they just said, Lori knows where to go, right? So just drive with Lori, she knows where to go. So being able to relish the fact that we were doing so well as a province in my home province, I think was really wonderful. I got to see my family members a little bit more, so sharing that special time with them. But, there were really some wonderful other sporting moments, as I said. Our badminton crew, Scott, we have never, ever medaled. Certainly within the last 20 years, we were trying to think back at how far that was, but certainly within the last 20 years, had never received a badminton, made it to the badminton medal round. So both our female and male badminton player singles took home silver medals, and I was there and I witnessed that, and it was pretty special. And we have this incredible para-Nordic female skier by the name of Emma Archibald, and Emma's lighting up her ski world nationally, and is doing incredible things. She took home 3 medals for us. So just those really proud moments of watching these athletes be their very best is something I think I'll take away, in addition to the fact that we did it on the island.
Now, I'm going to go back to what you were saying when you were driving around some of the mission staff and they were deferring to you. Hey, Lori knows where to go. So let's step outside the Canada Games world for a moment. And the mission staff need to go for a bite to eat or for a cafe, for a coffee and a muffin. What are some of the places that you were taking them, Lori?
Oh my gosh, lots of places. There are some incredible spots to eat, certainly in Charlottetown. But you know what, Scott, on that point, though, it was really interesting. And I think the host society, they were toting the games as a tip-to-tip games, right? So from one end of the island to the other. And we did a lot of traveling. Some of these legacy venues that the island now has as part of this games, a brand new ice rink build in North Rustico, certainly utilizing, Summerside and the Credit Union Place. But there were some really wonderful areas of the island. And I think for certainly those out of province folks, so those from British Columbia and Manitoba, visitors who never had a chance to see the island, it was pretty spectacular. But coming to food, we explored a little bit of everything. We have this fabulous barbecue Korean place that several of us visited numerous times.
I can relate. I can understand that. And just kind of digging into this whole island vibe a little more, I know my SaltWire colleagues over in Prince Edward Island covered the games literally from tip to tip, as you mentioned, and they told some really great stories. And one that sticks out, and I believe it might have been some members of Team Saskatchewan, but they were telling stories about being out around and seeing athletes from all of these different parts of the country out around shopping and picking up souvenirs from Prince Edward Island, pins and flags and whatever other mementos and things like that. What does that mean to you as an Islander at heart and someone from there, to hear those stories and to see those things happening?
Yeah, pretty special. There was an enormous buzz on the island, and I think it was particularly in the winter. It's funny, people will say Prince Edward Island's fabulous to go to, but choose to go in the summer. I kind of disagree. I think it's a beautiful hidden gem in the winter as well. And to see the number of athletes and visitors around the island that time, particularly for the local businesses, I think was really unique. And Scott, just touching on the island, I think what most of us took away from the games experience were these incredible volunteers. Never have I seen or met more giving, loving, gregarious, open people who just wanted to do everything they could to make the experience for those visiting athletes and coaches and families really special. And I think they all went above and beyond. I think I heard, there was the need for 5,000 volunteers to make the games work. I think they had well over that. I think they had waiting lists for volunteers. And I think, one of those moments, we came into the closing ceremonies, and there were volunteers lined up welcoming us, and you couldn't help but have goosebumps and feel the enormous pride of the island who came together to execute this incredible initiative. And I was feeling extremely proud.
So many wonderful moments and tremendous legacies left by the games. We'll wrap up with you here in a moment, Lori. But, the games now are in the rearview mirror. They're past, and Nova Scotia and all the other provinces have to look ahead to the next time that there's going to be a Canada Games, either summer or winter. What would your message be to athletes that have never been to a Canada Games and aspire to get there, whether it's to medal or, as you're saying, just to compete and get a personal best? What would your message be to those up-and-coming athletes?
I think it's to work hard and strive for your dreams. If that is a dream of yours, strive to do what you need to do to get there. And Scott, I tell everybody, I'm a 2 times Canada Games athlete. I got an opportunity to participate in the 87 games in Sydney, Nova Scotia. And then the Canada Games Council actually moved basketball, which was my sport, to a summer games. So I got to compete in back-to-back games. So I did the 89 games in Saskatoon. And I have to tell you, I have a number of really amazing sporting moments in my career. My Canada Games experiences will always be some of my most memorable.
Absolutely amazing. Well, Lori, thank you so much for your time today. And again, congratulations on all of the success, not only for Team Nova Scotia, but the Prince Edward Island Games as a whole. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott. Take care.
In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.